Hey, what is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be making a preparation guide for Season 2 for the first Descendant. How I'm going to do this video is I'm going to be splitting this off into priorities, going over Priority 1 to Priority 3. Priority 1 being the first thing you want to farm, and then Priority 3 being the last thing you want to farm. Some people's Priority 3s might be Priority 1. It just depends on how new you are to the game. With that being said, let's go over Priority 1. So for Priority 1, we're going to be looking at Energy Activators and Crystallization Catalysts. For the energy activators, you're going to want at least 6. This is just enough for the new weapons and the new Descendants that are coming out for Season 2. And then for the crystallization catalysts, this is going to be a big number. You're going to want 64. This is if you want to make full builds for the new weapons and then a full build for each Descendant. Now that we're in the research lab, I wanted to go over the next thing you want to farm in Priority 1. This is going to be the Fine Adjustment Control Axis and the Ion Accelerators, both precise and normal. So for the Fine Adjustment Control Axis, this is just for the substats for the new weapons. I would highly recommend grinding at least 3,000. This is going to be 1,000 for each weapon. And then for the Ion Accelerators, I would say grind out 6,000. This is just enough that you can put in one weapon for your Reactor if you want to implement a certain weapon for that Descendant. We don't know what they're going to be or what weapons they're going to benefit off of, but just having at least one mounting is good enough for that Descendant. And then for the precise Ion Accelerators, try to shoot for at least 3,000. And the next thing I wanted to cover is actually going to be the Mastery.
No, don't say that.
You're going to want to actually grind Mastery. Mastery is going to be important for Season 2. They're going to be implementing new missions that are going to be Mastery locked. So if you are not at a certain amount of Mastery, you're not going to be able to participate in those missions. I don't know exactly what Mastery you need to be. I don't know if we do know this, but I would try to shoot for Mastery 27 so you don't have to worry about it. So how you're going to grind for Mastery is you're going to want to unlock every single Descendant in the game, may it be normal and ultimate, and you're going to want to level them up to level 40. And then you're also going to want to grind every single weapon in the game, may it be blue rarity all the way up to gold rarity. You're going to want at least one copy and grind them out to level 40. Now I want to talk about Priority 2. So for the first thing you want to do for Priority 2 is finding your main weapon. This is going to be the weapon you're going to be using for majority of the new content, may it be the new dungeons or missions that are going to be coming out and the new bosses. If you want my personal opinion for the best weapons to start off with or to build first, it is either going to be the Enduring Legacy, the Thunder Cage, or the Greg's Reverse Fate. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get max dupes for every single ultimate weapon in the game. The reason why I say this is because they're going to be doing a weapon balance update when Season 2 comes out. So a weapon that probably isn't that great right now in Season 1 could potentially be one of the best weapons in Season 2. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about was the Void Shards. So right now, in order to actually be able to get all the weapon dupes, you are going to need to grind Void Shards. This is going to be a must, so I highly recommend grinding out a bunch of Void Shards, especially for the new season. We don't know what the new outposts reworks are going to be, since they're going to make it to where you can grind amorphous materials and infiltration operations in the future. So who knows what the outposts are going to be for. Maybe they're going to be for grinding materials faster or getting reactors. Again, we really don't know. So I would highly recommend just in case to grind out at least 4,500 of each Void Shard for Season 2. And then also, since we're here, make sure to grind out a bunch of the Code Breakers. For some reason, they're not called Code Breakers. I think this is a glitch, but you want to grind out an abundance of Code Breakers so you're able to get materials for your Energy Activators and Crystallization Catalysts. Since we're on the topic of Code Breakers, the best place to grind Code Breakers, in my opinion, is the Environment Contamination Zone. This is where I get majority of my Code Breakers, and it's also a really good place for gold, but we'll talk about that later. And the last thing you're going to want to grind for Priority 2 is going to be the full sets for bosses in the game. You're going to want certain sets for the next season. So the 3 sets that I would really try to prioritize on, the other sets are pretty good as well, but if you really want to know the best sets, I would say the 2-piece for Invader for the max shields. You're going to want the full Annihilation set, and then you're going to want a full set of the Slayer set. These are going to be the most important sets to grind. These sets I use the most in majority of my play in the game. So again, try to grind out all these sets. All right, now going over priority 3. So the first thing I wanted to talk about in priority 3 is going to actually be Kuiper and gold. You're going to need an abundance of Kuiper and gold for when the new season comes out for the new modules, and then you're also going to want an abundance of gold for the things that I was just talking about in this video. So try to shoot for like 50 million or 60 million before season 2, and then just try to make as much stuff as possible that I talked about. I will have in the description down below a really good gold farm that you can do, but since we're on this topic, if you also want to know a really good gold farm in the game, and I would say even a Kuiper farm, that is going to be the environment contamination zone. I talked about this earlier. This place is just really good for everything. And then the next thing you're going to want to grind out in priority 3 is making sure that you have at least 100 of every single material in the game. These are going to be all the basic materials that are here. Try to grind out all these basic materials, get 100 of each of them, and then for your munitions, try to focus on getting at least 5,000 to 10,000. And for the last thing in priority 3, I would say to do before season 2 is actually doing every single hard mode mission in the game and every single map. So all the hard mode missions on every single map in the game, just doing every single hard mode mission. The reason why you want to do this is because you're also going to get mastery from doing missions that you haven't done. This is just going to boost your mastery, but I put this in prio 3 because you could still reach mastery 27 without doing all the missions in the game. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. Those are going to be all the things you're going to want to farm for season 2. I will be making separate videos for everything that I covered, like going over how to grind certain things so that you know how to grind them. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.